Yo, welcome to the show. It's always look. So I'm in this space of Marcel's Marcel, and what's my mission, right? And what's my journey? So I'm known as the Wealth Mentor. Marcel as a person is multi-led. Marcel short for Marcellus. And when I started to accept that Marcel is, you know, this and that, a multi-led person, multi-led black man, and on a journey to create wealth, because I'm known as the wealth mentor. It's the main thing that I do as a professional speaker. That is my mantra. I go and do lectures and give things on financial literacy, professional development, which is how to become a top professional, whether you are an entrepreneur or you are in the 9 to 5 or you're in corporate, right? And how to be successful there, how to gain wealth there. My goal is to create a million wealthy mentees. But I also realized, even on my own individual journey and having different layers of wealth, whether you mean financially, influentially, $1 million network, stuff like that, how that impacted me as a sibling, right? So, this is how the show, you guys are going to know as Wealthy Sibling, came about. It's the journey of being or becoming. When I bring on guests, they either are wealthy or on their journey, just like everybody, of becoming wealthy, becoming that top tier entrepreneur, right? Wealthy celebrity, and so forth and so on. What is that like? I don't think no one really talks to us who become the one that everybody sees, who may get the limelight, who may have influence, what our journeys is like, and the impact and the family dynamic, right? There's the good, there's the bad, there's the entrepreneur. When it comes to being the wealthy sibling, wealthy relative, right? What is it like to be the wealthy brother, wealthy sister, wealthy uncle, wealthy cousin, wealthy dad? You know what I'm saying? Like, what is that like? And for me, it really was, uh, it was interesting. It was bittersweet. It was a lot of things. I grew up on the south side of Chicago. I grew up to a single mom. I had a strange relationship with my father, and just like the financial habits that I seen my family grow up having, wasn't ones that as I got older seemed were actually healthy or were actually going to get me to the goal of actually being wealthy. Like, we trying to win $1 million off a scratch off, and we're winning more than we're losing. We're trying to win $10,000 off betting off horses. My grandfather did, and sometimes you win, but it wasn't life changing money, right? And the reason I think that it didn't impact me as much because even my community, we didn't, like, we were so much in the same predicament, waiting on food stamps, waiting on this and that I don't think none of us really realized that we didn't really own anything. And the dope boy, the guy that was selling DVDs and CDs, we were just striving to try to get some extra pocket money. But what did we really have? Were we really attaining wealth that way? And I think that that's a conversation that we really need to have. I'll get into that on my journey, man. But welcome to the wealthy sibling, right? So we're going on a journey, the good, the bad, the entrepreneur, all right? So we're gonna get to it.
Can you share a bit about growing up on the south side of Chicago and how that shaped your views on wealth?
Huh. Growing up on the south side of Chicago was a man dream, misshaped dream. Because there was smiles. Like, what a lot of people don't understand is, like, yeah, we grow up what they call in poor neighborhoods, right? Hoods, trenches, so forth and so on. But the people in our neighborhoods, like, I'm from the south side of a community called Roseland, they call Wild Hundreds, and I don't we didn't know that we as a collective was living in a neighborhood. These We just always understood that these was our conditions. And what we trying to do as a day to day is make ends meet. So it was never like we could really be clowned upon. Like, we chased all the things. We chased the new Tims, we chased the new J's, we chased the new this and that. But all of us, all my homies that grew up on the block with me, we most of us was waiting on the first of the month. Most of us was waiting on EBT. Most of us was waiting on making sure the light bill worked, the water bill worked, and most of us lived in the same neighborhood, went to the same schools, shopped at the same neighborhood grocery store that had what it had, and that's all it had, and nothing was fancy, right? And I really did grow up on the other side of the tracks. Literally, if you go to my neighborhood to this day, there is a track, there is a literal train that leads to a nice part of what you call the hundreds, right? And it's on 103rd and Vincennes. Right outside that track, there are literally $500,000 to $1 million mansions, home, fertilized green trees. It looks like you in a forest. You can literally go on this road called Long Road, and there's literally going to be a mansion of like a house you've never seen. But you go to my neighborhood that starts on a street called Michigan, and bro, it's boarded up houses, bro.
Let's hear about that.
So for me, a defining moment was, let's say a defining moment was, how do you or when do you really know that you made it? So a moment for me was I had did a successful trade, right? So I studied financial literacy. I took the textbooks. I took the all the YouTube videos, and it was always during the pandemic. And I was just really trying to figure out myself, right? Who was Marcel? What was my goal? I didn't want to relive or hash out the things that I learned that were financial habits from my mom, from my parents, from my granddad. That wasn't going to get me to the goal of being a millionaire, right? That wasn't going to get me to the goal of being truly wealthy. So what I ended up doing was I said, okay, let me go look on YouTube. Let me read books like Powernomics. Let me read books like You Deserve to Be Rich as far as new books. But let me go out here and actually study and then apply. So when I applied, it was my birthday week. I had success in the trade, and for that day, I didn't worry about anything. Whether I had got a ticket, what I'm saying, I got a parking ticket, traffic ticket, where I could pay that off. Like I could pay the fee like it was nothing. I could go to Atlanta. I could go to Cali, right? Because I had that much money in my pocket. Like I can truly do that, and that's all I needed. So for me, I was tipping everybody, right? Before, like growing up, you boy, unless you get a traffic ticket and you living on paycheck to paycheck, bro, that's a hard anchor. Like that's an issue. Versus when I had a successful trade from the applied information, from my catalyst is different. And I realized that this is how rich people are every day. So I wanted to continue that. I want to live like that.
That's a great story, and it makes total sense. All right, let's roll right into the next one. As a self-made entrepreneur and wealth mentor, how did you navigate from just starting out to gaining millions of views and followers? Let's talk about that journey.
Um, it was interesting. I didn't believe that it was going to work. So people would tell me, "Yo, Marcel, you should get on the internet because you're so talkative. You're so passionate about the things that you want to do, want to see, want to change, especially for your community. Go out there and do it. Right? We believe that it would be dope. Just try it. Hop on TikTok, hop on Instagram, go. Right? And it was the creator economy, and I was like, I bet. Let's try it. And I tried everything, right? All of the phases from dancing, all that stuff. I've done it, but I realized that go for what I know, what I was so passionate about. And when I realized that it worked, I got 5,000 followers, 10,000 followers, 15, 20, 25, 30, 35. And as I was growing, um, I seen that, I hit 10,000, 20,000, 30,000, half a million, a million. I hit a million the next year, hit a million the next year. And my notoriety kept growing. It was amazing to see that it worked. I got opportunities, but it was also people started to associate me with only what I did, and they forgot who Marcellus was, who grew up right in Roseland off 130 Michigan. Like people started to associate my viewer count with me, who they even grew up with, right? Who they know, who was a family member, their cousin, their sibling.
Yeah, I can imagine that must have been a mix of excitement and also a bit of that bittersweet feeling, like you said. All right, let's keep it rolling with the next one. How has becoming wealthy influenced your family dynamics? Let's talk about how those relationships have evolved.
Um, so For those who go on the journey with you and decide to grow with you, start businesses with you, right? Let's say you do have a sibling, someone you call your brother, or someone that's related to you that can understand what it is that you're trying to achieve. Those relationships will prosper because you both understand that you're chasing to be wealthy, to be a millionaire, to strive for something. And those who don't, they'll only start to see you as a money sign, as an opportunity. Why don't you do this? Why can't I just have this? And you see it all the time, even with high end celebrities, or rappers, entertainers, actresses, actors. Like you see it because they're constraint to their reality, even if you've shown them that their reality isn't the only reality. So it's creating boundaries to say like, yo, yes, I'm still Marcellus who grew up on the south side of Chicago, but at the same time, I am striving to be a better black man. I'm striving to be a better man, and these are my boundaries. These are my standards. This is the way that I live now, and you have to be able to grow with that, or I have to leave you where you are.
Looking back on your journey, what were some of the biggest challenges you faced in creating those 1 million wealthy mentees, and what keeps you motivated?
The biggest challenge for me was getting them to see that it's possible for themselves. There is a there is a wall of disbelief when it comes to, you don't need to trap, you don't need to stand on the corner as a young girl, because our young boys and young girls both have to deal with the circumstances and the reality that they currently live in. And I understand that reality because I grew up in those same type of environments, right? With those same type of temptations. And I didn't have people who are me today, who've made money in the market, who've seen $1,000, $500 in a day, on top of whatever it is that I'm striving for, and who's been around people who own $1 million homes, who own life changing experiences. So the hardest thing is getting them to understand that it's possible for them, and that you, as the person who offering them the opportunity, wants them to have this opportunity, and believing that you are by their side, right? So, it's that, is you really finna stick around, bro? Like, is you really finna be here? Because when I go home, I'm not going home to maybe a clean house. I ain't going home to hot water. I ain't going home to fresh towels, fresh linen. Like, I ain't going home to that. So is you gonna be here tomorrow? So I think that's the hardest thing, but that's what I'm here for, to get you through your struggles.
That makes a lot of sense, and it's really inspiring to hear how you push through that. So let's jump right into the final question to wrap it up. What advice would you give to young people just starting out on their own wealth building journey? Let's hear your final thoughts.
Oh man, just start. I know you was like, bro, that's all you got to say. So listen, y'all. The reason why I say just start is because that's the first step, and probably the most scariest step for most people. And they are looking for this complex strategy on how to get into the room, how to become successful, how to trade. And it's applying the information that we give you and starting. Like, if most people are afraid to jump off. Most people who say they want to start a clothing brand, say they want to start a not-for-profit, say they want to start a catering business, say they want to start a restaurant, say they want to do X, Y, and Z, but they don't apply and start by going to the free events that may have the people who you need to connect with and network with to see what opportunities they have. It's paid internships, paid apprenticeships, uh, going into the field and starting learning from those people, but they don't do that. They are waiting for people to sit it in their laps, when the people who want to give you an opportunity, one of the first things they want you to do is to apply. They want you to start. They want you to go out there, put in the application, put in the motion, put in those things. They want you to do that. And most young people today don't realize that you're walking on your journey, but you have to take the first step. You got to start. Um, and that's really what the show is about. Uh, letting you know that the journey in itself is it's a beautiful journey to go on. You're gonna have some amazing experiences, but it ain't always gonna be pretty experiences. So when I say that, it's really understanding that becoming the wealthy sibling, and you might be the first one. You might be the first wealthy relative, wealthy sibling in your family, and it's gonna be good. Sometimes it might be bad. Sometimes it's just the life of the entrepreneur, the life of becoming that wealthy person. And this is where we have that conversation of what it's like as we grow, as we get into these relationships, my journey, right? So I can tell you, like, yo, you would think that when you become accomplished in any right, that your family will be the first people in line to congratulate you, to show you love. And it's not always like that, right? Sometimes it's your chosen family, right? But it's not always like that. And that's the truth of the matter. But would I trade the journey that I'm on? Would I trade my dream for the other reality? Not at all. I would still take the same path today. Today, I would still do it. So thank you. Like, share, subscribe, follow me on all social media platforms. Marcel Griffin, founder of Griffin Speaks, known as the Wealth Mentor, and this is Wealthy Sibling, where we talk to you about the journey of becoming or being the wealthy sibling, the wealthy relative, the good, the bad, the entrepreneur. Right?